Hi there, do you want to know how your body responds to stress and how we can help you feel better and how monitoring your stress status determines your health? Stay around and I'll tell you in a few minutes. Hi there, it's Dr. Brian here from Hands on Superhealth, and today I thought I'd talk about a very common and a very timely subject called stress. Now we know that stress is the result of load in the body in one of the three key areas, which would be structure. So you've got pain and you've got joints that don't work well. You've got biochemistry, so you've eaten foods that actually really annoy your system, and then you've got emotional, so thoughts that you hold that make you feel anxious. Now commonly we think of stress in that third category where you feel very anxious about something and that causes stress. It's what we define as stress. Now if you had a weak physical system, the body is stressed and you might be more reactive to the environment because you feel more on edge, but you're not aware of feeling stressed as such. Now when we then add, say, a digestive system that's under some sort of compromise, then that'll create inflammation and a stress response, and that'll change how your body creates energy out of food and how you feel, and then we go back to that loop. So the three are in a constant interplay. So if you're in a state of physical load and stress and there's some biochemical stress, then you'll feel quite anxious. Now one of the things, the stress response comes through the adrenal system. The adrenal glands sit on top of the kidney. They're about this size, and the kidney is around this. So the kidney is a small fist size, and the adrenal sits on top. So they are there so they can actually get the adrenal secretions directly into the kidney and go into the blood immediately, because the kidney is the master controller of blood flow and blood pressure. So it'll tell the heart what to do. Now if we probably over half of the adrenal receptors line the gut. The gut is, the tube of the gut is smooth muscle, and it does this milking peristalsis action that actually moves food down the digestive tract. And along all the way there are various valves that close so that when it squeezes the food keeps going in the same direction, it doesn't go backwards. So if we want to put blood out into the muscular system so that you can run away or have a fight, so the fight or flight response, as adrenal is sometimes called, then all the blood that's in digestion wants to be reallocated out to the musculature. So what does that mean? It means that when you're highly stressed, the body's going to close down blood flow to digestion, and the gut will physically tighten up. It's going to wring the blood out of it. So the concept of a knot in your stomach and tension here is the physiology of the body squeezing the blood out of digestion to have it out into the muscles for running away. Now if it's acute stress, you'll also have a white face and you'll be white skinned, because then the capillaries on the surface of the skin, they also close so that if you get scratched you don't bleed as readily. The blood will be a bit more inclined to clot. So that's another obviously advantage, so that if you do get scratched or cut yourself, you don't bleed to death. There's no point in getting you primed for fight or flight and having you die from bleeding. That's not very smart. So the body is clever. That's the one thing I want you to take away from all the chats that I have with you, is your body is amazingly clever and very logical in how it responds. So it's never really a mystery. It's only a mystery if you're looking at it round the wrong way or not getting inside, and maybe viewing it from the body's perspective rather from the outside. Back to the story. So if you've got stress in your system and it's persistent, your digestion's going to suffer because you don't have the right blood supply absorbing the food that you eat and digest, which means that you don't get the same quality. You get more fermentation of the food that you eat. It doesn't digest well, so you get more gas high and low, particularly low. More farting, often smelly because the food's fermenting, not digesting. And you very well gain weight at the same time, so you're not getting the same goodness out of the food, and the body's kind of protecting itself for this fight or flight, so it needs energy on board, energy in the blood. Changes how the blood the body keeps blood sugar in the blood. So your insulin might want to be switched down to keep the sugar in the blood. So that it's there for the muscles to use to actually help you run away. If you're sitting at a desk and you're upset, then that blood sugar doesn't get used in activity. So the body becomes a bit desensitized to the sugar. It's not being pulled out of the blood by muscle activity. So there's so many things that happen when we go into stress. The brain changes how it works. So you work in the reactive and the lower half. You're not really thinking about how you feel about the car crash. You're just trying to react to avoid having one. On the other side, you might burst into tears and be wildly upset because you weren't hit. Because you weren't hurt, like it's sort of bizarre. However, the body is reacting and there's a relief and there's a whole lot of things that occur after a high stress moment when you survive. But you'll be shaking, you'll be quivering, your body's ready to take action, but it often isn't necessary. So when we look at the body and we look at how it's performing, we're actually determining how it sits. So we have at hands-on part of the Insight subluxation station, we have the pulse wave profiler, which is looking at heartbeat or heart rate variability. Now, heart rate variability, the more variable it is, it's constantly speeding up and slowing down. Every few seconds, the heart rate is changing. It's imperceptible if you're just taking a pulse. But if you put yourself on one of these scanners that's reading the pulse many times a second, it can tell that the heart rate is variable. Now, heart rate variability is a sign of health because it's a sign of adaptability. So if we put you on the pulse wave profiler and we find that your brain is really active and your pulse is not very variable, pulse rate is not variable, the plot will give you high stress. Now add to that cool temperature and moisture in your fingertips and we've now got high stress. So we know when you're in the plane and it seems to be falling out of the sky, your heart's racing, your mouth's dry, you're sweating, a cold sweat, not a hot sweat, and you're feeling terrible. And that is actually extreme stress response. The survivors of the world that sort of work in special ops in the CIA or intelligence, they're particularly good. The Navy SEALs, that sort of MI5, those secret agent people, they're very good at coping under stress. They don't have normal responses like you and me. And that's their secret weapon. So for the rest of us, though, this is the beginning of the end if you can't switch it off. So because adrenaline is an activity hormone, one of the things you often should do if you're in a high stress phase of your life is you've got to take regular exercise that's daily, that actually gets your heart rates up, gets you sweating, and actually consumes the adrenaline in your blood. If you do that, then your body will settle. So when you're stressed, you don't feel like it, but the one thing that'll help you really a lot is to actually go and do some solid exercise. Yoga or something could be good for calming the body, but I would be inclined to suggest that if you skipped a rope or went for a jog or went to the gym or did something, got your heart rate up, got you into a bit of a break, a bit of a sweat, and then you went into a yoga class, you'll probably do better if you're in stress. If you're already calm and relaxed, go straight to yoga, have a great time. So I am devoted to helping you understand how your body works and understanding the logic behind the body. As I said, it's not illogical, it's not random, it's not doing things just on a whim because it wants to annoy you. It's doing things to help you survive, and survival is really, really important. So if you want to understand a bit more about the body in more depth, get some understanding of the body, join the membership site for hands-on so you can be led through a knowledge base that's constantly expanding. We're adding new elements to the courses constantly, and that will give you a much better understanding of how your body works, how it's responding to you and the environment, and helping you survive, but also what information to take from how your body feels and how it's responding to let you know what you can do to help it actually resolve where it is at the moment so it's truly healthy and adaptable. So that's my tip for the day. Stress, helps you survive, no good if it lasts long term. And how do we measure stress? We look at the heart rate variability, skin temperature, skin moisture through the PWP apparatus, and we cross-check that with dynamic blood pressure, temperature, a number of other scans and other things we look at that actually tell us quite accurately how your body is and where it's sitting in the stress matrix. So if it sounds interesting, get in touch with us. There'll be links below to go to join the membership site and maybe make an appointment and come and see us, and we'll speak to you firsthand, face to face, and help you get better. So remember, the healthy don't get sick, and the super healthy thrive in all circumstances. All the best. I'll speak to you soon.